Revenge films.
My husband Jack's parents and my own parents were toxic parents that didn't care about their children seeing them fight every day. So, when we got married, we promised each other that we wouldn't turn up like that, and promised each other that we'd do whatever it takes to get along with each other. I was raised in a household filled with verbal and physical abuse. I was traumatized. When I see couples arguing on TV, I get depressed and start crying. Of course, I got in arguments with Jack, but we would never yell at each other or hit each other or pointlessly argue on. Most of the time, we would calmly get mad at each other and reflect on ourselves to fix our own shortcomings. So we got along very well. My parents and in-laws didn't like that though. My in-laws would bully me, and my parents would bully Jack and try to make us fight with each other. Normally, you'd expect parents to be happy if their children were getting along with their spouses, right? But not our parents. They were all out of their minds. I tried to figure out why with Jack, but the best answer we could think of was that maybe they wanted to confirm that their way of life, arguing every day, was right. We tried our best to ignore them at first, but gradually both our parents started crossing the line. My mother lied to Jack that I was complaining that he didn't make enough money and tried to get us to fight with each other. Neither of us fell for their lies, of course, but we were both sick and tired of our parents trying to feed us lies. So we came up with a plan to get some revenge. Nothing extreme, of course. We just did the exact opposite of what they were doing to us. I went to Jack's mother, Tammy, first. Your husband told me how he's so grateful for everything you do for him, and how he's always so regretful after he argues with you. He's a traditional man, as you know, so I think he's just having a hard time apologizing to you and showing his affection towards you. He always tells me how sorry he is about going hard on you. Then I went to her husband, Aaron. Tammy is a prideful woman, so I know she's always so stubborn with you. But when you're not around, she always talks so highly of you and tells everyone how she wishes she could go on dates with you. But she seemed sad, saying that you're getting old, so you might not want to go out with her anymore. These were all complete lies, of course. Jack said the exact same sort of thing to my parents. They were such simple lies, and we figured that they would find out soon enough. But if they tried to scold us for lying, we were planning on just telling them that they were the ones that lied to us first. But funny enough, my in-laws started acting all awkward around each other after that. All they had done was argue until then, so they didn't know how to interact after finding out that the other person cared so much about them. I had been visiting my in-laws quite often to check up on how they were doing after my lies, and noticed that they were gradually changing. To my surprise, Aaron invited Tammy out for a stroll to the park. Tammy was surprised. He was having a hard time expressing his love, so maybe this is him trying to be loving? She interpreted it like that and accepted his offer with an open mind. Since she accepted his offer so smoothly, Aaron took it as a sign that it was true that Tammy wanted to go on a date with him. Days passed like that, and my in-laws started softening up, and I saw them having fun conversations more often. They did find out midway that everything I told them was a lie, but by that time, they were already getting along so perfectly well. Rather than getting angry at the lie, they looked back on their lies that they told us and were embarrassed with themselves. They called us over to apologize one day.
We're sorry for lying to you guys like that. Please, forgive us.
They seemed sincerely sorry, and I noticed Jack shedding a tear next to me. It means so much for a child to see their parents getting along. It was supposed to be payback for the lies to pull us apart. And we never expected this kind of outcome. Especially for Jack, who had only seen his parents fight for all these years. It was a very touching turn of events. Around the same time, my parents had caught on as well. Our plan wasn't working as well on them, but when my in-laws apologized to us, I explained to them that we were doing the same thing with my parents as well, and they happily cooperated with us.
You know how it is to always be arguing.
It It was funny how enthusiastic they were about participating in the plan. This was their plan.
It's normal these days for in-laws to be deeply in love. It's so uncool not to be flirting with each other.
It was a simple seed that they planted. All they had to do was show them how well they got along now. Times have changed. Every couple is taking walks together now and expressing their love for each other straightforward. You know those couples you see on TV nowadays. That's how they all are, right? Tammy brought up examples of celebrities and was able to sympathize with my mother because they were both women raised in the same era. Life becomes so much more vibrant when you get along. It's like your high school years all over again, honey. Tammy kept feeding my mother this kind of narrative. It never worked when Jack or I said anything, but since they were around the same age, even though she was a little hesitant at first, my mother was completely all ears and would enjoy her conversations with Tammy. My father and Jack's father both shared golf as a common hobby, and when they would go together, Aaron would tell him how he never got along with Tammy for a long time, but life got so much better after they did. Jack and I kept feeding the fire. We told my father how hard my mother had been working around the house for him, and told my mother how hard my father had been working for her. We continued on like that for a few months, and one day my parents invited us over. When we got there, it was quite different than with Jack's parents. They didn't even look at each other. Jack and I were thinking the same thing. Oh, looks like it didn't work with my parents. After seeing how Jack's parents had gotten along, I was hoping for the same thing with my parents, but I was devastated to think that it didn't work out with them. But in the next moment, they apologized to us. They both figured that the other person would never say such a thing about them and confronted each other about the lies we told them, and they quickly figured out that we were lying to them. At first, they were angry that we lied to them. But it was true that they were envious about how well my in-laws got along and told each other that the lie that they told wasn't a lie at all, and that they did really care about each other. After hearing that, I was so happy. I cried tears of joy. My parents seemed confused. Jack explained to them that I had always been distressed about their fighting ever since I was a kid. My parents apologized to me after hearing that.
We should have been more thoughtful of you. We're sorry. We're also sorry for lying to you guys.
Afterwards, we found out that they weren't looking at each other when we got there out of embarrassment. It was a relief, and it made me happy to hear that. Our parents, who used to try so hard to break us apart, now going on vacations together. Our mothers go out for lunch together often as well. The other day, we went to that restaurant that gets great reviews together.
Oh, so the next restaurant you go to, I highly recommend the one by the train station.
They talk about their dates with their husbands and exchange information with each other. And they bug us now about something completely different. When are you guys having a baby? I can't wait for a grandchild. Our parents even bought us tickets for an overseas vacation as a gift.
All right, guys, no fighting, okay? Take good care of each other.
They're the ones reminding us to get along now. Neither of us expected to ever see our parents getting along. It's quite a mysterious sensation. But most importantly, they aren't trying to instigate fights anymore. Since they spent so many years at each other's throats, now they really enjoy getting along with each other.
How was today's video? If you enjoyed it, please subscribe, like, and leave a comment. Stay tuned for more.